to start with, Babaji, just to clarify, as there may be some misconceptions as to what's the essence of spirituality is. What is the basic aim? What's the purpose of going on the spiritual path?
The very name of spirituality has been given. It is to know yourself because you are in the infinite form like a spirit type, in- not visible to the naked eyes, yet you are there, just like the mind. Mind, apart from infinite form, we can call it, it is in the spirit form also. It is not visible to the naked eyes, yet it is there, but you don't know much about the mind because all your focus is on the imaginations that the mind carries within itself. So, to know about this, and now also our own form, our own existence is the ultimate truth of this mind. In this body, what we call it as mind is actually we. So, for that, I have told amongst millions of thoughts you have in the mind, there is one thing that is arising is the consciousness of existence, your own existence, which is not an imagined thought but a reality. So, to know about this, to become aware of that, to be in that consciously always, to remain in yourself is what is the spirituality or spiritual practices are prescribed so that you can know yourself better and you can become aware of yourself that you are beyond the birth and death of physical body. So this is important to understand.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Baba, you mentioned that the attention is on the thoughts. So, the spiritual practice really is to bring the attention away from the thoughts onto you yourself. Is that correct, Babaji? And could Baba just explain how that's achieved?
Exactly, you are right. I have given example of watching a movie on the screen. When you are watching, your consciousness gets sucked so much deeply into the movie. Everything that is happening in the movie appears to be so real, and you are likely to see yourself in a role in that movie, and likely that totally forget or forgotten that you are sitting and watching a movie. So now the practice is so that you bring back your attention from the movie and become aware that you are just sitting and watching the movie. You are not at all connected. So nothing is happening to you. So no birth is happening, no death is happening. Yet you see consciously so much involved. One considers that we are going to die and we are born, all these things happen. So to know this truth is the spiritual practice so that you remove your attention from the thoughts that are in the mind, from the visions that are in the mind. Silence the mind. So that is the technique of the meditation we give silently when you watch. So all the matter that is in the mind dissolves. When it dissolves, then the mind's attention goes to itself. That itself is what the consciousness of existence that is there. Always you have this feeling, all of you are able to feel this, that you all exist. But just now, because the consciousness has shifted to the body, so you are unable to be aware of your real self in the way that you are. Instead, you are aware of the physical body as yourself. That wrong thing has happened. So, everything happening to the physical body or anything connected to the physical body, surroundings that we are all doing, uh, get sucked into the consciousness. So that is the reason that we have forgotten ourselves, we can tell like that. So to remove that and bring back the consciousness or the attention back to the self is the spiritual practice.
Thank you, Babaji. Some people may expect an experience within their meditation, and that actually um, that will signify that they are on the spiritual path, going into maybe like a sort of trance-like state. And Babaji, you just mentioned the feeling that you exist, but the feeling is not an experience per se, is it? Could Babaji talk about that and what we should expect within the meditation?
Yeah, I have seen generally experience means people expect some vision to happen or some such experience connected to this world or matter in the form of that imagination to happen, then they want to consider that as an experience in meditation. Whereas if a good experience of a nature of noble and divinely like that, if it happens, it's not a bad idea, but you have to use that to remain focused single pointedly when you are watching in between eyebrows. That's what I always advise. Don't get carried away with the vision. Just watch. Even a good comes or bad comes, anything that happens, just watch. Don't get carried away with the vision. Then you start analyzing and then you start claiming, I had this vision, oh, I had that vision. They start claiming as if they are progressing very well in meditation. But actually, they are stuck. It is a stumbling block for progressive meditation. A real meditation is when you are able to achieve serenity within the mind, quietness, the mind becoming totally silent, giving up all thoughts and visions within itself in every way. That's what we were taught. We were taught by our Guru, even in tapas also, any vision or any manifestation. Why I call a vision and a manifestation, there are difference in the megapixel of the picture, potency or what you want to call it. If it's a manifestation, it is as physical as the world that you see around you. So that type of things also when happens, do not react. That is one thing the master taught us. Do not react. Whether it can be of two types, good and bad always. Means such a vision or such a manifestation can be very tempting sometimes or can be very threatening. Either way, just don't bother. If it is threatening, a firm conviction that this universe and all the visions, everything is impermanent and it will disappear. And that detachment, that is what is known as vairagya, will be very, very helpful. If it is tempting also, we must be aware that it is only a temporary, impermanent. It won't give a permanent happiness or a self realization. So, thus, both good or bad can become a stumbling block for which we need to ignore and just keep watching. Like for this, in other words, also have been used in other way of language. Siddhis might come during tapas, but you must ignore. Don't get carried away with the siddhis. That means the same thing. Say if a divine vision happens, and what was the significance that we understood from Swamiji's teaching? Like, even if God comes in front of you, do not ask for anything that God can give. Ask that you want God only. Because anything that God can give is impermanent, it will disappear after some time. Only God is permanent, eternal entity. You want to be, that is what the self realization. You want to become one with it. Ask for that only. Do not compromise for anything else. Like that, we were trained by our Guru. He taught us repeatedly. So that's what was very helpful. The vairagya and a firm conviction that the universe is impermanent. So these things are very necessary to be progressive in meditation always. Any vision might be very attractive. The mind has a tendency to get involved by analyzing. this is good, this is bad, why is this happening, why not something else to happen. Like that, we get involved with them and we get carried away. And the stories gets built up and progressive meditation stops there. Means it just like you are going, you need to reach the divine's abode, but on the way you get attracted to a beautiful scenario and get involved there. You try to verify, you try to do research, you want to know and you want to enjoy like this, and you are stuck there. You don't travel further at all, whereas you have to go further towards the ultimate truth, self-realization. So for this, the vairagya is very necessary. Detachment. That's what you have to keep going until all visions, all thoughts, any manifestations, anything that appears, all dissolves. Just the consciousness of existence, one single self, that is there. Then the seer and the seen both disappears. That's when you are closer to self-realization. The merger can happen. Until then, you keep analyzing, you keep analyzing, you keep analyzing. It's like a Maya illusion and never ending thought after thought. You keep analyzing. You will never be convinced, and your doubts will never get clear. You will go on and on and on, and you are involved with this. And one day you will feel that you are not progressing at all. Nothing is happening. No peace is descending. So that's why I have always told a real experience in meditation means your mind, how much silence it is becoming is important. How much quietness that you are able to achieve is very, very important in meditation. And when you come out of meditation, also, easily you won't get hurt from the world. You are not getting attracted to either praise or criticisms. Either way, you remain unaffected. You are at peace all the time, because slowly now you are gaining what you really are. So this really you are needs to be known. Otherwise, how will you know what you are? If you again end up knowing something else as you, and you are not that real you, then that meditation becomes useless, and you can go years and years of practice and you are stuck there. Nothing will really happen. Means quietness. Only that consciousness of existence must be there. That is how the ancient sages also determined the self as eternal existence. The ultimate truth is eternal existence.
Thank you, Babaji. Baba, you've said that a real miracle would be if someone could give everyone peace in the mind. That would be considered a miracle. So, any experience that any people may have, it's really only a miraculous thing if it makes one to sit for meditation, become quiet, in the same way that Swamiji had that miraculous experience of a Jangama sage coming and putting him into meditation. He then went into tapas. So a real miracle is something which makes one go into meditation or become peaceful.
Yeah, if we want to understand in this way, many people might claim they had a vision of God or any such thing. But what makes difference is if the vision is really strong, a manifested vision, like the Jangama sage came in front of Swamiji, and Swamiji came to me from the photo and made me to sit for tapas like this. When it happens, you jump into it and a transformation happens. From an ordinary weaver boy in that small hamlet of Andhra Pradesh, South India, that young boy of 14-year-old, he went into a deep samadhi tapas of practicing 22 hours in a stretch to remain in samadhi, means in the quietness of the mind. That is what is samadhi. Samadhi is when the mind is totally quiet and is in its own plane. It is not spinning or it's not wavering. That is what samadhi word has been used. It is in samana. It is totally stillness. It is just there as it is. That is samadhi. So that was how he could practice in that samadhi. If that samadhi doesn't happen, that means you are nowhere near meditation's results actually. The visions are coming, people get excited. I get this vision, I get that vision, this thing happens, that jumping happens. So what you are talking of trance-like situations, they are all like small chocolates, lollipops to make the child to go to school of spirituality, to attract that there is something much more beyond our capabilities. The divine is there. Generally, people want to understand the divine. If the divine has power or energy, hardly people might be interested for knowledge and wisdoms. So that is why divines are also given weapons in their hands. People want to worship only if the divine can protect us. So these are all like the mythical beliefs that happens. Real knowledge and wisdom is the thing which can make you totally secure in your existence.
Thank you, Babaji. Um, Online, there's a lot of people talking about spiritual awakening and that there are various stages to this spiritual awakening, and we have to go through these stages. What would Babaji say about this? Um, what would be a real spiritual awakening?
A spiritual awakening is when peace starts descending, when the mind becomes quiet. That is the simple thing. Anything else, nobody can notice what is happening in the body. Simply by listening to somebody's talks or somebody discourses or a lecture or reading in some book, they start claiming themselves an awakening happened and the energy is stuck there, it is blocked there. For they keep imagining all sorts of things. Nothing would have happened, neither blockage has happened, nor they are able to remove that blockage. The blockage is in the mind actually. When the mind is unable to give up imaginations, that means the mind is blocking itself into the uh, what you call it as the hypnotizing effects of its own imaginations. That's what I could tell. So then the blockage has happened. Because when the mind is into imaginations, it cannot lift the body consciousness or energy also. The energy never rises above. It won't happen. It will be stuck. Because if the mind has imaginations, it runs to this universe. It spins. It runs and spins. It runs and spins. It cannot go introvert at all. If it becomes quiet, then only it goes introvert. When it goes introvert, then it lifts the body consciousness also. For a teaching, many teachers would have used symbolically, used terminologies just to tell them this is how it rises. This is like, for example, Mooladhara, Manipura, Swadhisthana, and all these things, Agna Chakra, Sahasrara, and nowhere there to be seen. No chakras are there. They people talk of chakra cleansing and they don't know how to cleanse the chakra because they don't know the chakra itself. The chakra which needs to be cleansed does not exist at all. And what is it that you are going to clean? But you know that you have a mind that exists. In your mind, the thoughts and visions are their stories. You have built up a world. That is what is making you restless. That is what is making you lose the peace. All these are clearly visible for any human being. That is what you need to cleanse simply. Anything else is not visible. Why? They talk all the theories, chakra cleansing, chakra cleansing, chakra cleansing. And that appears to be a big knowledgeable thing when people listen to such talks. And the person who is talking about it himself would not know what it is. And the students who are listening to that also will never get what it is, but they will start claiming, I've been asked for a chakra cleansing and I am trying to do that cleansing. What the cleansing? But practically, nobody knows what it is. That's what from my younger days. I always felt if a terminology is used and if you try to understand, you should know what it is in front of you. Say, for example, now if we use a terminology space, everybody knows now the space is in front of you. But if we use a terminology of Brahman, Atman, nobody has seen it, nobody knows that one. In the same way, if I use the terminology, you have a mind, your mind needs to be cleansed. At least I am sure you all will understand who are all sitting there. But if I simply use, there are chakras and the chakra cleansing needs, you don't understand where the chakras are, how to cleanse also. Simply you will be talking, when you talk to your friends also, I am doing chakra cleansing, you will tell, but you don't know where the chakras are and what the cleansing happening. So like that, the myths gets built up unnecessarily. Like I have told the myth of the serpent for Kundalini, coiled energy. Kundalini is nothing but another portion of the mind, the consciousness and energy combination which has gone into the body, have been called as Kundalini, the coiled energy. That is the literal meaning. Coiled energetic force that is throughout the body. So, because of this Kundalini or the consciousness energy going into the body, we have obtained a consciousness of ourselves as the physical body. We have identified ourselves as the physical body. Consciousness is so strongly sitting. See, when your consciousness is so strongly sucked into the movie, that movie appears so thrilling and so realistic, because that gives an effect in your consciousness also, a panicking effect, a fearful, an excitement and thrilling, so on and on. All these are happening in your mind, whereas your mind is in no way touching the movie screen at all. Simply it is absorbing in consciousness, in its imaginations. See the psychology that is happening to everybody. In the same way, now the body consciousness has happened, consciousness has shifted. It is so strongly sucked into the brain and the brain's reflections. So that appears to be so realistic when the mind registers in itself and firmly believes that. Then we believe that we are this body as the personality. Though in scriptures many people would have read, we are the Atman, we are the eternal soul. But where is the awareness? I also used to wonder at the age of 10 or 11, if at all I am that Atman, as the scriptures talk, why is it that I am not aware of it? Just now I am not aware, I am only aware of this physical body as Srinivasa Dikshit. Before my tapas, that was the name. So I was aware that this body is me. Why is it that I am not aware? What has made me to forget or how to regain and overcome this forgetfulness? That is the practice of meditation. First, get rid of all imaginations. Then the reality becomes visible. You switch off the projector, then the screen is clearly visible. Like that, the mind has the consciousness of existence. The day you achieve total silence of the mind becomes visible. Visible in the sense not to the naked eyes, but to your consciousness. It becomes visible. Ah, this is me, this consciousness of existence. Everybody is able to feel that one, but just now, because it's shifted to a body, they are not aware of what its real formation is. That is what we need to know through meditation. What is this mind really is? What is this consciousness of existence really is? Who am I? The great sage Ramana Maharshi said, who am I? Our Shiva Bala Yogi said, meditate and know yourself. That's all he said. He didn't say, you meditate, you can fly as 40,000 feet. He did not say, meditate, you will know yourself. That is the most important thing. Other things are all imaginations, no need.
Thank you, Babaji, for clarifying. Um, Babaji, just to dwell on the body consciousness just for a moment, Babaji has said before that the consciousness does not have any particular location, um, obviously, and no shape or color or anything like that, but no location. So, is it that we've imagined it to be in the body? It's not actually in the body itself.
Actually, it is all simply pervaded, just like the space is pervaded. The space that is pervaded outside, the same space is pervaded inside the body also, because the body is in the space. So now the illusion, one saint has sung this song, "Oh my divine, are you inside the illusion, or is illusion inside you?" What a beautiful magician that you are. You have done this to all of us. How to know you, my Lord? Please reveal yourself. Like that, he prays in the song. So, such is the wonder. We are the dweller, and the body is inside us. This we can really experience only in deeper samadhi state. Until then, this will practically it will not be acceptable easily. But inside, at least we will know because of the mind. It is inside the body only the mind seems to be working, at least for now. Mind is imagining and mind is building up stories. Everything is there. Mind is not somewhere here. Mind is not here. No such location. Though many people symbolically might have mentioned some teachers, we have respect for that. We don't deny. Like Ramana Maharshi used to say, "Okay, you always tell I am when you point out to your heart. This is so that is what the I is. That means inside. That is symbolically. Not that the I is situated only here, near the heart or in the heart or inside the heart, whatever it is. It cannot be. It would have been small peanut type of soul. That is not the truth is. Truth is just like the space is pervaded, the self is also simply pervaded. That means wherever you concentrate your mind silently, when it becomes silent, then and there itself it goes introvert and merges. Introvert, whenever we talk, a person is likely to imagine that coming here, the mind, then goes here like this introvert. He will only know through the physical body, he will try to measure or locate. That is illusion. That is not the thing, he is actually an experience. Once the mind totally is purified, it has regained the form of consciousness, it is totally silent now. Then it gets detached from the brain, and one would feel oneself as it they are here for a while. That is why here symbolically ancient teachers have used as thousand petals lotus, Sahasrara Kamala, that means that is symbolic. There is no thousand petals lotus is there. Just to understand here, if you feel that you are here really in sincerity, nobody should tell lies. They are the losers if they tell simply for sake of claiming or boasting. That experience happened. That means now the mind is really has achieved silence. It has become totally silence and quiet, and has regained the form of consciousness. So the teacher would have told, for example, it has blossomed like a thousand petals lotus. All of you must listen this sentence. It has blossomed like a thousand petals lotus. Very often students don't get this like a. They will get the thousand petals lotus and they don't get the sentence like a. The master said ki just like a. They forget it. Oh, master said some thousand petals lotus also is there. If we come here, we got it. Nothing such is there. These are all myths that gets built up when the symbolically tell. If a master tells कि when the consciousness, when the mind comes here 100% in the commanding circle Agna Chakra, It lifts the body consciousness. At that time, like electricity, like the serpent also rises so fiercely, right? So fast it is. A serpent in front of you can go zzz like that. Like that, a master would have told, just like a serpent rising, a serpent power rises. Then, age after age, the next generation, if they haven't understood properly, if they have understood only a serpent rising, then the students would argue. The master said something like a serpent. Another says he wants to convince them and confirm and boast. No, it was not like a master said some serpent is there sitting there. It has to rise. He will boast that as if he has understood everything beautifully, whereas he has not understood anything at all. Imagine if such a person teaches the next generation, he will teach it there is a serpent and that serpent has to rise. Where is the knowledge has totally broken, collapsed? What the actual knowledge the original teacher wanted to give, and the next generation teacher, if he has not understood what the master wanted to teach, so he will teach ignorant things. There is a serpent, and that serpent, I have heard during my college days, people used to tell, if you meditate, that there is a coiled serpent is sitting there. It has to rise. It slowly rises if you meditate for 5 years. Finally, when I meditated and understood, my God, what all sorts of nonsense people keep talking in this world. Myths all gets built up. So that is how things, wrong things happen. Just like another story I have told many times in my talk of the cat and the rope that is needed for Shraddha ceremonies. How the myths gets built up, and there was a father, so he had given a list of all the ingredients that is needed, and then he wrote a rope also. So to his son, he asked, bring a rope. Then he brought a rope, did not ask. And then he used to tie that rope. There used to be a cat there in their house, and his father used to tie the cat with a rope and then perform the fire sacrifice, Shraddha ceremonies, everything. So that generation was over. That father, old man, died and passed away. This person, the son, was mild, soft in nature. He wouldn't dare ask any questions to his father, because father would scold. Just I'm telling you to get the rope, and you just get the rope. That's your job. Don't bother why it is. You will know that one. Then he would tie the cat with a rope. And the son understood there is a need to tie a cat with a rope during the Shraddha ceremony. So next, his son came into existence. When he gave the ingredients, he wrote one cat and a piece of rope also. The fellow was a bit more educated. He was not convinced. He asked, Father, why do we need a cat and a rope for this Shraddha ceremony? He said, I don't know, my son. My father always used to tie a cat with a rope. So that is why I also want to do that one. Simply follow that as a tradition. He was not convinced. He went and consulted certain other learned people. Then they laughed at him. There must have been a cat in those days, so that the cat does not disturb the fire sacrifice. He would have wanted to tie that cat with a rope. For that purpose, he would have asked the son to get a rope. If there is no cat, there is no need of a rope. If there is a cat, we need a rope. If there is no cat, we have a problem, we will have to solve that problem. If we don't have a problem, where is the question of solving the problem? Just like that, often in our life, we create a problem and then we want to get it sorted out, and we are so miserable to solve. Within our mind's imagination, we create such problems, and then we say, "Okay, we are not progressing. We are stuck here. We are stuck with this terminology. We have read, and this has to happen, that has to happen." So all these things keep happening. So that is what I have always told. That's how the mythical myths gets built up. Simply, that's why I keep telling students repeatedly, at least you understand the mind. Everybody know their mind. There is a mind, though you have not seen the mind in naked eyes, but you know that you have a mind and there is an imagination in this mind. So let us catch hold of this mind, and then you will go through and you will reach self realization. It becomes so easy. Rest of the things the mind will take care. It is the mind which can take you to yourself. But if the mind is made preoccupied with some other imagination, so it cannot know. So that is what happens.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Baba, if for people who want to start on this spiritual path, Babaji recommends the method of Jangama Dhyana. So, Babaji, should someone simply start practicing this meditation and forget about all the other things, the Kundalini or the body consciousness, all of these things just get taken care of automatically? Or the only thing that we need to worry about is this practice?
One important thing, whatever method they want to practice is no problem. They can practice, but they need to understand the purpose, the right technique. Why? The basic idea of all sadhana, all methods of meditation is mind control. First, control the mind. It is the mind which is running away, spinning in the world. It is the mind's magic effects, like Kabir Das sings, the mind puffed up, spinning, runs in this world. What a great magician, my lord, you are. That magic needs to be stopped first. Mind needs to become single pointed. If that is understood, then you can practice any method, is no problem. Though if when people want to get initiated, we want to tell you practice these silent methods also, whereas you can continue practicing other methods also, because our guru respected all methods as honorable, respected everything, but you need to understand the right in its right sense. Otherwise you will be stuck. Whatever you do it, you will not understand, you will be simply stuck. You need to achieve the silence of method. So like in the silent method we tell, in silence you practice by trying to give the mind to become quiet on its own without giving any external anchor. This is one thing. Jokingly, I have always told, it's like getting recruited as an officer directly. You don't have to become a clerk and other posts, then get promoted to become an officer finally. Because if the mind is becoming quiet, it simply goes introverted, it will not stop, and it becomes one with the self eventually. It is in a simple way I have told the statement. It may not happen as simple as we talk. If the mind doesn't become quiet, then it becomes complicated. So that's what you have to practice, understand the technique. So any method you practice, you have to understand that you need to quieten your mind, make it single pointed. Instead of having millions of thoughts, just focus on one thought that you are trying to do, like you are chanting a mantra or you are concentrating on a breath, any such thing, you just concentrate on that. Eventually, one day, by the grace of the divine, some guidance will come to you. You will be able to understand, to give up that mantra or that chant or that breath, everything, and just become silent in its own way, on its own sense. Then the mind becomes quiet, and then it goes introvert, merges with the self. So that's what I would advise. I would not ask anybody to give up, but don't imagine mythical things unnecessarily. At least catch hold of the mind, go with the mind, start with the mind, then you will understand, because you know you have a mind. That's what I'm telling. The rest all you don't know where it is. Terminologies. That's why in all my commentaries of the book, I have tried to use the present day terminologies. Not that I don't have any respect for ancient terminologies, but this is easy for people to understand of the present day instead of using so many terminology. Whatever culture and language that was prevailing in those days of ancient teachers, they used such terminologies. But if we practice and we are experienced yogis, then we will know ki what was that they really used. Why was that used? That after doing tapas, I could easily understand why was the terminology Sahasrara Kamala used. Why was the terminology Muladhara used? It is simple. Why was the terminology Kundalini or a serpent power used? So you understand all these things, otherwise, you would have been stuck. So that is what my advice is. Whereas we respect all forms of sadhana, you carry on, but understand the mind control is what is necessary.
Thank you, Babaji. A question we've heard quite a lot when people start with meditation, they ask, do I need to believe in anything? Do I need to have some kind of adopt a belief system in order to practice meditation? Could Babaji just clarify that?
Uh, Believing could be to have faith in yourself, to have self confidence. That is the reason you, if you need an external anchor in the form of a divine, in the name of a divine, in the form of a guru, in the name of a guru, these anchors are given so that you, if you need, you don't feel confused on the path. The guru will be there to guide you, inspire you. You are going right, like this you go. So that is why the need is given. Otherwise, it is up to you, one's own choice. You first have your own self confidence. You believe in yourself that you can do it. Then, for guidance, you look for a guru who is a self realized master. Then you will get the right guidance. That is important. That's all I would advise.
Thank you, Babaji. So last question here. Uh, some people use the term yogi as being simply someone who practices the physical yoga, the postures. Sort of, it's a blanket term. In the Indian tradition, a genuine yogi is something quite different. Could Babaji explain what is a genuine yogi? What has such a person achieved?
Actually, in the ancient Indian school of thought, two parts of yoga is there. One is the body postures that has been taught, yoga asanas, yoga postures that has been given. The yoga word is reunion with the origin. Like if the physical body is healthier, that means it is in yoga. If its health is spoiled, it is viyoga. It is not in yoga. It is away from its origin, away from its healthier position. Now it is ill health. So to practice that, in that way, you practice the body postures and then try to learn meditation is one school of thought. Another one is directly you just meditate and go for self realization. So that is the yogi one, means the one who has achieved total silence of the mind and has merged with the ultimate truth, like the droplet merging with the ocean. That is the real yogi means. Like our Shiva Bala yogi, a yogi. Yogi means that is what it is. Eh,
And Babaji, such a person can still, of course, operate in the world like Babaji does, communicate and use the mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can appear like a, you see, when you see this physical body, what and how will you know what is in my mind or what is the form of my mind, how quiet it is, what is I am enjoying? Impossible. Nobody can know it. Physically, you can know. If I raise my hand, you will know Baba has risen both hands. Anybody can know that. People try to measure or calculate according to the physical postures only. Or that is the reason if there are two matted hairs are there, and if the person is has a beard or any such thing, these are all traditional things. The knowledge is in the self actually. It is the mind and the self. That is what is important. Ramana Maharishi never had any matted hairs. He used to clean shave his head, but still he was a great yogi. Like that, anything, anybody could be. Different traditions could go on. We are having this because of my guru's tradition. That is all the important thing. But the power is really in the mind. That's what one needs to understand. Now, after you become a yogi, you can live like an ordinary human being. Because I have told one important sentence: to make the mind to go into samadhi is a different skill. After achieving samadhi, to bring it to the level of application of the brain is altogether a different skill. Just like you achieve self realization or you achieve a degree, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, you become anything. That is different thing. To be able to teach that degree, that engineering course, that doctor medical course is a different skill to become a teacher. So like that, so you have to bring the mind to the level of brain, apply, and then you should be able to teach the right things to the students, answer their questions perfectly, and tell them that this is the truth. That is a different skill. So like that, you can live in the world. I have also used the word, it's like a sattvic ego. When you have an imagination, when the mind is in touch with the brain, that's when you are able to apply the brains. To be in this world, you need to apply the brains is very necessary. That's what you practice the skill. Though in the initial days, it was very difficult for me. I used to remain dazed. Ambaji knows, she used to travel with me. She was with me all the time. All those years she has seen it. I used to be simply go, anybody invited, simply went, simply sat there, and whatever they said, I simply went on doing. Yeah, they wanted me to give darshan, I gave darshan. They wanted me to do meditation, I did meditation. Like that, I went on doing. But slowly I learned then, because we saw people trying to sit on my head, catch hold of my neck, wanted to get rid of Ambaji altogether. Ki Ambaji should not be with Babaji, then we cannot control Babaji. They wanted to control me. It's easy to control Babaji because Babaji is introverted. He remains in his room. He doesn't know what's happening outside. So, like these things, slowly we picked up the skills and tried so that people don't take me granted in administration, running the institutions, all these things. Like this, any person, when you practice meditation, still you can remain a normal person. You won't lose anything. Mind will not be destroyed. You are simply taking control of the mind. You can keep yourself restrained. Means wherever you need to act, you can act upon. Where you need not act upon, you can restrain and keep quiet. Like when you need to talk, you can talk always. If you don't need to talk, you can keep quiet. So these are two different skills, right? Talking is a skill. To be able to keep quiet is also a skill. So that requires energy. That requires your restrainment. So like these skills you can practice and you can remain a normal human being in this world. You can move. You can adopt any way of life. You can be an engineer. You can be a police officer. You can be a doctor. You can be a businessman, and you can simply perform your duties in a more matured way. Wherever necessary, you will use only that much that is necessary to execute things, to do your job, and then you will withdraw yourself. You will not harm anybody, but just you are doing your job. That's all. Like that.
Thank you so much, Babaji. If we have time, Baba, it could be open up to the participants. There's some who have their hands up.
Yeah, we will take some questions.
Namaste, Babaji. So I had two short questions. The first, I was just curious about, does a self-realized yogi such as Babaji, once the realization happens, do you stop having dreams at night, just like you stop having thoughts in the day?
No, no, no. Dreams do happen because dreams are get produced by the collision of mind with the brain. The brain decodifies and produces, just like this world is here. And now, just like with the presence of this world, a yogi is unaffected. He is just a witness. In the same way, in dreaming also, he is totally aware that this is a dream and he remains unaffected. It doesn't influence his any thinking or understanding anything. Simply it happens. So that's all. It's only a vision, because as long as the brain is there, this illusion will be there, but the awareness of the self is always maintained.
Okay. So you're always aware of your dreams.
Yeah,
So I've had that experience before. It's quite powerful when you
profound.
when you realize, yes, that you're dreaming. The other thing, just briefly, could you explain just a little bit about how and why the Vedas came into existence and any misconceptions that people may have about them?
Nee, Vedas and Upanishads, they are very great teachings. They came into existence since time immemorial.
Yes.
Many people want to believe that came directly from the divine. In other words, the ancient sages, when they used to do tapas, deep meditations, and occasionally they used to gather together, few of them would sit and then discuss about their own experiences. Oh, it is like this is that, like that, the terminologies they used in those days, and that was all recorded by their disciples. So that was how Upanishads and Vedas came. And one of the important things what we have read is Adi Shankaracharya, who came probably 10, 12, 13 centuries ago. When he came to the central part of India, he met his guru who gave him sannyas. Govinda Bhagavat Pada was his guru's name. He showed in a cave all the Upanishads which were written in hand in ancient times was lying there. So much of them were eaten up by white ants. So he shows ki Shankara, you need to take out the right Upanishads and Vedas and write commentaries on this. So Adi Shankaracharya read all of them, whichever one were closest to the truth, authenticated. So he wrote commentaries by simplifying more of that ancient difficult languages. He simplified more into real Sanskrit that is available. So that is how the Vedas, Upanishads are available. They are very ancient scriptures, amazing ancient knowledge. That
Yes.
is a true thing. There is nothing wrong in that. After reading such things, many medieval teachers or present day teachers are likely to gain misconception and misteachings about telling, if they are not experienced, they are only scholars, they might tell ki this is what it is. If a student asks a question, then they won't be able to answer properly. They get irritated and they would tell anything else. Like that, a myth is likely to build up if a person is not experienced. That's what I try to tell. But the Upanishads and Vedas themselves are very great. They carry the real true teachings of the ancient truth, of the ultimate truth.
Need to have proper guru to explain them.
Exactly, exactly.
Thank you, Baba.
Rams Babaji. Babaji, I wanted to ask, I came with one question, and with this topic, one more question added. So, talking about myths, so during meditation, sometimes one can experience high observability, but some experiences are not comprehensive. Like, we are talking about divine, they have such huge powers. It can be scary, it can be fearful, it's energy, it's not comprehensive. So at that time the mind goes into why, how, what is this that we never saw this before. And it could be in meditation or outside in our practical world. So what does Babaji suggest or educate, like guide us in trying to decipher these incomprehensive realities of the world?
You see, one important thing even our ancient sages used was when they came across such experiences, they understood the power of energy of the divinity, the ultimate truth is inconclusive. That is the word ananta they used. They realized they never jumped into any conclusion at all. Even a self realized yogi never jumps into any conclusion. Conclusively, nothing can be told. It is inconclusive. It can be inconclusive. And it is ananta. It is boundless. That's what the ultimate truth. Like the space is boundless. Space, galaxies, Milky Way, space, like that it continues. And the space is boundless. That is what you understand finally when you reach that level of truth. So that is what is important. It can be anything. So you don't get stuck with any conclusions. You don't go into any mythical things also. No need for that one. Anything can happen. When it has to happen in imagination, it can happen anything. But what is important, we are not concerned much about these imaginations or the illusions or the mythical things. We are more concerned about becoming quiet and merging with the self to become one with the self.
So in short, Babaji, we do not have to think about the whys. We just have to quieten all of these.
Exactly. That's what I would advise. Because more you think, you get more involved into the vicious circle of imaginations, and it's a never ending process. Illusion goes on and on and on.
Babaji, another question which I came before this session. Uh, what is Purusharth, self-effort, and what is the importance of Purusharth?
Purusharth is you decide you want self realization and you want to take out time for that and you sit down to do the job sadhana. That is Purushartha. That is the self efforts. You won't simply sit in a corner, oh, grace of the divine should descend and I should get self realization. Not like that. That's what is advised since ancient times. Purushartha word has been used. You have to do it. Then the grace also descends on its own. For this, many teachers have spoken different ways. Like Swamiji, our guru, used to tell, by meditation, you have to meditate and you do your job, sit down and meditate. God will do his job of showering grace upon you. You don't have to bother. Like that, he used to say. That is what is known as Purushartha, efforts.
So, Babaji, when trying to identify self-effort, it is also said that if you are wanting to learn meditation or achieve self-realization, that's the right way. But the mind can get into delusions and desires and want the world. So the same self-effort is put into some other fruits or desires.
Yeah.
So
So
how
then,
does he discriminate this thing?
so that is what you need to apply your wisdom properly. Like, if you want happiness, is what you are looking for, you should be able to apply your brains. I must have the happiness all the time, 24 hours, 12 months. It must not simply be fluctuating. When we go into this world, when we try to obtain the worldly things, you will always see the permanent happiness is elusive. Happiness comes, unhappiness comes. This a practical experience will come to you. Even if you, whatever age you are now, if you look back from childhood, whatever you would have dreamt or wanted, used, so all the time, all the things have not been able to be obtained, and the happiness has not been able to be maintained all the time. There must have been some times of anxiety, anxiousness, unknown fear about the future, don't know what it is. Like these things keep happening to every human being. So that's when we must try to know I must have the highest truth. Not simply we don't compromise for smaller thing. Like for example, I tell the divine is ready to give you the supermarket itself. But if you imagine, you might end up imagining a small chocolate. So slowly, as you learn to apply your wisdom, it will come. You will learn. Watch the world. When others' fingers gets burned, you have to watch and learn. Oh, I need to be careful. I must not keep my finger into the fire. it is going to burn. That is the application of wisdom. Every time you don't have to put your finger, then burn your finger, then only you understand is not the real wisdom. When others' fingers are burned, that's what you know. That is what the effect of history, all these topics you try to know. Is the past things are always meant so that you learn if any mistakes were done by anybody, whether Ramayana or Mahabharata stories. You try to learn from that also what type of mistakes were committed. When that mistakes were committed, why the wars, conflicts happen, why the destructions happen. We keep repeating humanity. If we see the present day world also, humanity keeps repeating, they don't learn lessons. We need to learn lessons. We should not waste our energies like that. We should be more peaceful. Much higher things are there. Many times, you see, another important example for this question, we have tried to remain quiet by sacrificing our own egos because we understood we will be wasting our energy unnecessarily. Time waste. Life is short. Anytime it can come to an end. Before that, that's what one word of Bhagavad Gita always impressed upon me. Arjuna, before death shall claim thee, go to the knowers of truth, seeking their permission, sitting at their lotus feet. Ask by putting intelligent questions, and when they advise, adopting such methods, achieve that truth to yourself. Sri Krishna advises Arjuna. This advice we all must follow. That is how we will know how the highest things can be perceived.
Thank you, Babaji.
Baba, people talk about, I feel it in my heart. The heart's a physical organ, so it can't really feel. So what does that mean? Where do you feel?
Symbolic things, physical heart is different. Often for emotions and feelings, symbolically heart have been used. Listen to your mind and heart, like that. So mind, many people have used these terminologies for different purposes. They have used mind for application of proper wisdom, knowledge. They have used the word heart for emotionally getting carried away, like that. So that is what it is. It is all the mind actually. For the mind only, heart has been mentioned and mind has been mentioned.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Namaste, Babaji.
Yeah, please.
Babaji, I have came across from dead bodies. I have been feared, Babaji. What to do?
Fear. Yeah, you can overcome this fear if you regularly meditate, then you gain lot of self-confidence. Fear often happens by an imagination of the future that arises in the mind. What happens tomorrow? That's how the anxiety comes. An unknown fear about the future happens. How will be my life? What will I do? Will I achieve anything or not? All these things. The spirituality teaches you to learn to face the moment and you be prepared for every moment. So you have to practice meditation regularly. So then you will gain more self confidence, you'll be more matured, and you can overcome this fear.
Babaji, how to how to decrease the anger, how to avoid the anger. So if anyone says me that you cannot do this one, I have been so angered.
You see, angry also, these are all the feelings of the mind that arises with the energy of the mind. If you have the mind under your control, your mind under your control means like the mind is the main switch. All emotions of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, these were called six enemies of human mind by the ancient sages. Extreme greediness, extreme anger, extreme stingy, extreme attachment to impermanent world, and false pride and jealousy. So once you control the mind, you practice meditation, you can overcome all these things. You will be able to practice more patience and you will be able to restrain yourself wherever it is not necessary to show an anger. right? Practice meditation. Bless you.
Thank you, Babaji.
Namaskar, Babaji. So, in Bengali Hindu communities, people pray to and worship statues of deities, like at home during daily puja ceremonies or at festivals like Durga Puja, Kali Puja. Are there any spiritual benefits of doing these traditional ceremonies, or is it delusional?
Yeah, if you do it with total faith, that means by applying your mind, then you will be benefited. It will be helpful in your meditation to bring the restlessness of the mind if you are devoted. That is the by an exercise of devotional path, we can tell, worshipping like that. Any deity, any name, you one God and many names like that. So thus it will be beneficial if you apply your mind.
Thanks, Babaji.
Pranam Babaji. I have a very similar question. The question is it prudent to have a target in the material world as well as the highest target of reaching the samadhi, or would it be counterproductive?
Nay, there is nothing wrong if you want have any target to achieve in the world. Means for that what we teach, having a desire itself is not a problem. But the actual target should be before the body dies to know the self. That is one thing. You have to live in the world also. You might have adopted a way of life. You may have a target. Work for that also. When you work, your mind needs to be in the present. Then it will remain more focused and more powerful. So if you practice meditation, both can go together and you will be able to accept the results, whatever happens. You will not be affected by the result, but you would put your efforts fully.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pranams Babaji. When I start to meditate, I always feel restless and infinite thoughts coming in. Is there a way I can control it? And how do I
Yeah.
manage that?
It happens almost to every human being because since time immemorial, mind has absorbed imprints and habits, tendencies. So when you sit for meditation, the mind gets stirred. So all the dirt of the mind has to come up and then that dissolves, filtered. So what is needed? Dedication means you set a priority that you need that every day without fail. Sit for meditation, be disciplined to sit at a particular time for 1 hour, then have patience. Overnight it won't come out of control. We tell, since so many lives the mind has gone out of control, it will take some time. So have patience and continue with the method. Today you might feel as an underdog and the mind has more power to take you out of the control. But one day where you will be able to achieve the mind control, peace will descend. You need to understand the technique. All you have to do is keep the eyes closed and just keep watching in between eyebrows. Let any thought or any vision come. Don't try to analyze why those thoughts are there, what they are. Then they will all evaporate and dissolve. So, like that, slowly practice. One day you will achieve. I will pray for you. So wonderful. We had another wonderful day of beautiful questions coming out, giving me an opportunity to express my opinion, my experiences, and whatever my master taught me.